On the PC version of BO1, if you lean at the top window in the spawn room on Kino, you can see the zombies spawn. Rick Toffin's belt buckle says his name on it. The keycard that you pick up when you go back in time into Reisendrak is the same keycard you pick up for the Mangler lockdown and Garage Easter egg. When the Double Cross released with BO4, it was originally called the Echo Hawk Dual Bore. A few months after they stopped supporting BO4, they changed its name to the Double Cross. If you use the tram too many times in one round on Shadows of Evil, the tram will actually overheat and you can't use it for a certain amount of time. Speaking of the tram, randomly on console, the tram can go double speed. I don't know how to replicate this. I've only had it happen a couple times in my game, but if I figure out how to do it, I will put it in a future video. In World of War Zombies, if you knife on insta-kill, you normally get 110 points, but if you melee with a Bowie knife on insta-kill, you will actually get 130 points. The Orda has been in more zombie maps than the Margwa. The Orda is in D Machine, Firebase Z, the Outbreak Water Vent, and the Outbreak boss fight, and the Margwa is only on Shadows of Evil and Revelations. The M27 was supposed to be in BO3. Don't believe me? If you own BO3 on PC, boot up BO3 and type this command in the console command to get the M27. Also, this doesn't really have anything to do with zombies, but during BO3's life cycle, I remember you could occasionally get a glitch where you would spawn in and multiplayer with the M27. If I can find a clip of this, I'll put it on the screen now. In Shadows of Evil, you can use the Apothicon sword to jump onto these cars outside the Footlight District. You will hit a death barrier if you're here for too long though, so watch out for that. Speaking of shadows, there are a lot of useless grappling hooks around the map. In the last video, I talked about how there's grappling hooks in Pack-a-Punch, and those are pretty useless, but answer this question for me. Have you ever used a grappling hook near stamina? What about this grappling hook in the Footlight District? Have you ever used this one? Because I haven't, and I have yet to find a practical reason as to why this is here. Randomly when playing Infinite Warfare Zombies, you can have a glitch happen to where an enemy spawns on top of you and collides with your hitbox, and if this happens to you, it'll result in you being flung into the stratosphere. This glitch is quite rare, but it is pretty funny when it happens. In D Machine, you can grab the canister for the Nova 5 upgrade variant through the ceiling. And additionally, on launch, you could do the same thing to access the Wonder Fizz from the second floor. This was patched, but the Nova 5 thing still works. Deadwire sucked when BO3 first came out. It would only kill like 3 zombies, max, every activation. Additionally, Blast Furnace was undoubtedly the best alternate ammo type on release. Since then, Blast Furnace was nerfed to where it still is pretty good, but it's not easily the best one anymore. And Deadwire was massively buffed to where now it is 100% the best AAT. World War II Zombies has a pretty funny glitch with the NZ41 weapon. Somehow they managed to flip the damage numbers on the normal version and the Pack-a-Punch version of this weapon. So this gun is actually better unpack-a-punched than it is pack-a-punched. In 5, if you use the electric trap on a Pentagon Thief round, the zombies on the next round will think the trap is still on and will run around the trap to get you. Before BO3's release, Treyarch held a contest where the winner would, quote, be a zombie in Call of Duty. The person who won this contest was Richard R. Thing about this is, Treyarch kinda scammed him. They didn't name a zombie after him and he didn't become a zombie. Rather, they put his name on a sign outside of the spawn room in Garad Crowley. Now, I don't know about all of you, but I personally would have loved to have my name in a zombies map, especially a BO3 or BO4 map. So, Richard Rodriguez, I envy you. The Giants Easter egg song is a remix of Beauty of Annihilation, but they added Samantha's lullaby at the end of the song. If you want to challenge yourself the next time you do Reisendrak's Easter egg, do it offline. In offline mode, you don't have any access to Mega Gobblegums, and also, you have to build all 4 bows to do the Easter egg, even on solo. Normally with this quest, you have to build 1 bow per player in the game, but in offline, you need to build all 4. On Buried, if you break the LSAT platform and then jump back into spawn, if you try to jump on it again, you'll hit an invisible barrier. Additionally, if you break the platform, you can still buy the LSAT by teleporting back to spawn with the well and using the paralyzer to grab it. In BO2 Origins, when a robot stomps near a zombie, they'll fall over and have this really goofy animation, but for some reason they took this out of BO3. Yet another reason why BO2 Origins reigns supreme. Way outside the map in Call of the Dead, you can find this box. I don't know why this is here, so if you know why it's here, let me know down below in the comments. It is kind of weird how close it is to the normal map though, and not under the map where players have zero chance of seeing it. In Horizon Drag, there is a really cool Easter egg that we were never meant to find. To do this, you can't have the super Easter egg done. So if you want to do this in your game, you're gonna have to do this in local so you don't spawn with the RK5. On round 2, have all the zombies destroy the barriers in the spawn room and then repair 2 boards at each window. Then buy the RK5 and repair 2 more boards on each window. After that, trade out the RK5 for the Shiva and repair 1 more board at each window. Finally, once you do all that, buy the RK5 again and hurry and buy this door. And if you did it fast enough, you'll see a picture of Zombies developer Drew Marlowe and his family. This Easter egg wasn't found until 4 years after Horizon Jack released, and it probably would have never been found if it wasn't for data miners. There is a version of both Shadows of Evil and Horizon Jack on the Xbox 360 and PS3, and it's pretty funny because these maps look actually terrible. Like, BO2 looks twice as good as this game does. This game was so advanced that everything that wasn't absolutely necessary to put in this game, like Easter eggs, wasn't put in the last gen versions of this game. So during BO3's life cycle, when we were still trying to figure out all the Easter eggs on these maps, this was our main way of telling if we were actually hunting an Easter egg or not. Take for example this lamp in the Ruby Rabbit. People thought this lamp was an Easter egg because of the weird black dots on it, but turns out it's not on last gen, so it's not an Easter egg. The M79 and Cold War Zombies used to have different kill requirements to get it gold. When this game first came out, you needed to get 1500 kills, 50 multi-kills, 2500 pack-a-punch kills, 10 elite eliminations, 20 kills without getting hit 10 times, and worst of all, you had to kill 5 zombies with 1 shot of this weapon 750 times. What makes this last challenge even worse is that if you killed a whole horde with 1 shot, which is 24 zombies, it would only count as you doing this 1 time, not 4 times. And also, keep in mind that when this game came out, PhD Flopper was not in this game. Thankfully, since then, Treyarch has reduced the kill requirements needed to get this gun gold. Instead of 2500 pack kills, you only need 1500 now, but most importantly, they changed the brushstroke challenges from needing to kill 5 zombies with 1 shot 750 times, all the way down to only needing to do it 50 times. Which is still a bit of a grind, but it's nowhere near as bad as it once was. You needed to do that 750 times. What were they thinking? Were they thinking? I don't know. Speaking of Cold War, when this game first came out, a data miner found 10 perk jingles in the game files. He found the 6 perks that came out with the machine, and he also found 4 perk jingles, which we thought were going to be the 4 DLC perks. They found the files for Tombstone Soda, which came out with Firebase Z, Mule Kick, which came out with Mauerder Toten, PhD Flopper, which came out with Forsaken, and Double Tap. Yes, that's right. Double Tap was originally supposed to be in Cold War Zombies as a DLC perk, and if you don't believe me, here's a Dark Ether version of Double Tap's perk jingle. Speaking of perk jingles, in BO3 Shino Numa, you can hear the perk jingles play through the door, so you don't have to open them to tell which perk is where. If you're enjoying the video so far, make sure you drop a like. You know the deal by now. We get 1,000 likes on this video, I'll make another episode. So if you want another episode, click that like button. Alright, back to the video. Leroy is really glitchy on Buried. Just a few examples real quick. If you shoot Leroy while he's changing a drop, the drop will never despawn. And also, if you shoot him while he's picking up a zombie, the zombie will fall underground. Like in Mob of the Dead, there are a bunch of pieces of scrap paper that you can find around the map in Shadows of Evil. When you put all these pieces together, it makes this picture. You can see a bunch of interesting things on this picture, like quotes saying, "We are different but the same, and the children will be safe in the house." This picture almost single-handedly told us what we were going to be doing in BO3's DLC season. But more importantly, it also told us where we were going in the DLC season. If you look closely, you can find 4 sets of coordinates on this picture. If you look up these coordinates, it'll take you to Lower Zeliza, which is where the Giant takes place, Hohenwerfen Castle, I'm definitely butchering that, which is where Dreisendracht takes place, Pohnpei Island, which is where Zetsubo takes place, and finally, the last set of coordinates will take you to Stalingrad, which is where Garad Krobi takes place. I feel like I've been saying this every episode as of late, but man do I miss how zombies used to be. In Dreisendracht, when you shoot Dempsey out the sky, a KN-44 will fly out of the rocket going into a bush. This is almost impossible to notice in-game because it disappears so fast. When D-Machine first came out, you could jump onto the Etherscope bench to pack a bunch. This has since been patched. Fireworks works on any gun that it's on, even on guns that aren't supposed to have it, like the Death Machine and the Apothecant Servant. Also, if you guys want me to cover this glitch and how to do it in a future episode, let me know in the comments. Zetsubo no Shima was the first map you could swim in. Since this was the first time, Treyarch didn't really know how long they should allow you to swim before drowning, so they ended up balancing it really weirdly. So to start, without any perks or the gas mask, you can hold your breath underwater for 15 seconds. With only Juggernog, you can survive for 23 seconds, and with only Stamina Up, you can live for 25 seconds. With both Juggernog and Stamina Up, you can live for 33 seconds. Additionally, the gas mask, for some reason, allows you to survive 10 seconds longer than normal. So for example, with the gas mask, Juggernog, and Stamina Up, you can survive for 43 seconds and so on. Now that sounds normal so far, right? Well, this is about to all get flipped on its head, because for some reason, they made it to where for every additional perk that you have besides Juggernog or Stamina Up, you can hold your breath for 1/6 of a second less. So if you have the gas mask and Perkaholic, you'll survive for 41.83 seconds. Thankfully, when they brought swimming back in Voyage, they fixed the drowning feature so it's much less random. At least so I think. In Tagged or Toten, when you use the zipline when holding the Hellion, the game will force you to put it away. But if you switch weapons back to the Hellion right before you get on it, you can use the Hellion on the zipline. Now you might be wondering why they force you to put away the Hellion, and the reason is because when you have to reload the Hellion, you need both hands. But obviously, if both hands are on the Hellion, how are you holding on to the zipline here? You should just fall to your death here. In 9, if you stay in the challenge podium for the first 5 rounds, you will unlock a secret Easter egg song. I'll play a clip of it real quick. If you play Outbreak when using a double XP token, or if it's like a double XP weekend, double battle pass tiers, anything like that, randomly when going to a new round, the double XP logo can get stuck on the screen. If this happens, unfortunately, it'll stay here for the rest of the game. In a co-op game of Mob of the Dead, when there's only one player alive, a secret song will play to get your blood pumping. As far as I'm aware, this is the only map to have a special soundtrack play when you're the last man standing. Which also, by the way, that's what this track is called if you want to search it on YouTube. Last Man Standing. Here's a clip. It really reminds me of that Escapist game from a couple years ago. Shout out to you if you played that. When you grab a Gobblegum on PS4, the light on your controller will change depending on what color the Gobblegum is. Additionally, on Infinite Warfare Zombies, the light will continuously flash orange and blue. This is pretty annoying if I'm gonna be honest. In Shadows of Evil, there is a secret wall by outside of the map. In the waterfront district near where the shield part spawns, if you no-clip behind this wall, you can find a secret VMP wall by. Now, I don't know if they were originally going to have a wall by here and later decided against it, or if this was left over from a previous version of the map. If you know why this is here, feel free to drop a comment why. Classified has really cool Pack-a-Punch camos. The camos on this map are classified blueprints of the Ray Gun Mark 1, Ray Gun Mark 2, the Monkey Bomb, and finally, information on some of the fan-favorite Black Ops characters like Frank Woods, Hudson, and more. Also, thanks to this, we know that Woods is 6 foot tall, 30 years old, and 190 pounds. There was originally supposed to be a super Easter egg reward in BO4 Zombies. In every map except Dead of the Night and Tagged or Toten, there is a secret room locked behind a door. We know these are secret areas for multiple reasons. First, if you throw a grenade at a door that is scripted to open, the grenade won't explode on it. And that happens with these doors. You cannot have a grenade explode on these doors. Also, if you play with bots and go near these rooms, they will continuously try to get into them, which they wouldn't be doing if this wasn't a playable area. If you want to play around with these rooms, especially if you have mod tools on PC, I'm going to tell you where each area is real quick. So in Blood of the Dead, it's near this spawn in the infirmary. In Classified, it's in the pig room. And in Alpha Omega, it's next to the key holder in the solitary room. I should also mention that Alpha Omega's room is the only one that zombies can't get into, so it's probably around this time that they stopped working on the super Easter egg. In Voyage, it's in the provisions. In 9, it's near the shield table. And in Ancient Evil, it's near the Swordfish walleye. No one knows for sure what we're going to be behind these doors, and there's no way to find out, because people have dug into this game's code and have found nothing pertaining to a super Easter egg. It's safe to say that there was originally going to be a super Easter egg, but since BO4 Zombies flopped on launch, they just decided to cut it. Speaking of digging in the game's code though, a modder by the name of Jack47 opened the Voyage Super Easter Egg room, and you might notice that it's super detailed for an area we will never see. More importantly though, you can find pictures of our crew in here, which, if you haven't put 2 and 2 together yet, this is the room that the mysterious bald man was in Voyage's intro cutscene. I really wish we could get into these rooms legitimately, and I really wish we had the super Easter egg too. In a previous video I talked about how you could see Mob of the Dead's plane on Shadows of Evil and the Giant, but it turns out that you can also see it in Zetsubou no Shima. And finally, in Blood of the Dead's intro cutscene, Dempsey is using the dual wield strikes, which you can't do in BO4, and additionally, when he shoots them, the slides don't have an animation. I don't know how they missed this. So there was your Useless Zombies information. If you enjoyed it, do me a favor and hit that like button. If you want to go the extra step to help me even further, I would greatly appreciate it if you would click the join button below this video to become a member. Speaking of members, shout out to all of them. Thank you all so much for supporting me, I really do appreciate it. If you know of any useless information that I haven't covered yet in this series, be sure to comment it down below. And don't make it nothing stupid like,
Richtofen is German.
Don't do nothing like that. Put actually interesting, yet useless information. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.